The journey back to Rutak's apartment was thankfully uneventful. Parking his hoverbike in his designated space in the multi-level parking garage structure, the two worn-down friends began to walk towards the elevator. "Some place you live in," Cena said, as they entered, and began their quick descent to the ground floor. "It's not that big," Rutek replied. "The complex houses some 300 units, from single-occupant to small family units. Short of high-rises, the bigger complexes can house upwards of around 600 units. I almost considered renting something like this, but I changed my mind. I needed space for my equipment and potential to expand. Can't really do that in an apartment unit, so I ended up getting that small place out in the boonies." "That makes sense," Rutek said, as they exited, and walked to the 5-story apartment complex. "Cheaper way out there. I needed something a little closer to Tal V since I didn't want to live on the ring." Arriving into the lobby, and then to another elevator, Rutek continued. "I'm on the 4th floor, unit 257. It's a small single-occupant unit, and I have to warn you I've not cleaned up in some time. Spent as much time as I could trying to find you." "Thank you, that's so sweet." "That's what friends do. While I clean up, you take a shower, okay? I'll order something to be delivered." "That sounds like a plan," Cena said, as Rutek opened up his apartment door, the lights turning on automatically. There were clothes all over the place, old take-out boxes and trash on the counters as the trash can in the kitchen was overflowing, and dishes are piled up in both sides of the sink. The space was indeed small, comparable to cramped studio rooms from back on Earth. "You weren't kidding," Cena said, looking around. "This place is a mess." "I'm usually a clean person. I can't believe I let everything get this bad." "It's alright, you had other priorities," she replied. "But I'll let you get started. Can I borrow some of your clothes?" "Sure." Rutek had given Selena some shirts to choose from, as anything else he has simply would not fit her. As she showered, she let herself relax a bit into the warm water of the shower stall, since Rutek did not have a bathtub. Not nearly as worried about being found as she had been when she had been staying at Doc's place, she felt a lot of the stress from the last several rotations melt away from her. The warm water was a godsend to her aching muscles and heavy bruises. However, a pulse pistol was within easy reach. As Selena was showering, Rutek began to clean his atrocious apartment. While 3 rotations worth of take-out and neglect looked like a lot to do, it only appeared as such due to the overall small space. Since the two of them were planetside again, he had turned his phone back on once he started to clean, and a litany of notifications of missed calls made his phone go off for a full 2 minutes. Once his phone was done with various alerts, he cleared all but the most important ones to check later. Many were angry messages from his work and from his friends, most notably Gerd. As it was night time, Rutek left the messages alone, except to send a quick one to Gerd, letting her know that Selena and himself were both safe, and that they were at his place for the night. Ordering some food for them both, he then went to take out all of the accumulated trash, and dropped everything into their respective chutes at the end of the hallway. Back in his apartment, he felt that everything was going to be as clean as he could get it. He was done just in time as he heard the water from his cramped bathroom turn off. "This looks a lot nicer," Selena said, clad in one of the oversized shirts he had lent her, doing a much better job of clothing her than the damaged one she'd been wearing. "I needed that," Selena said again. "I feel a bit better. Thank you for letting me stay here again." "It's no bother. That's what friends do," Rutek said. "Oh, I let Gerd know we're safe. I know you haven't had a chance to do that yet." "No, my phone's being flashed and reset. I need to reload all my data on it. I'm glad my data plan has that option. Well, it should, considering how much I pay for it." With a sigh, she added, as she sat down on the cleaned-up couch, the pulse pistol resting on the arm of it. "There's just one thing I have to do. I've got an order I'm behind on, VidMail to send, my own repairs and rebuild, paperwork to file for taxes, my spacecraft to go through, and only how to fly it, not to mention whatever I have to do for being a bounty hunter." Flopping her head back onto the cushion, she stopped quickly with a grimace, and put her hand to the stitches on her forehead. "Ow! There's just so much to do, you know. I know you have a lot of paperwork to do, too. I'm glad that director fellow is letting you do that so easily. Surprising, really." "Oh, yeah," Rutek agreed, sitting next to her. "I'm wondering about that myself. I think it's because she's not only a criminal, but an off-order as well. No one to really defend her or lay claim to her belongings besides enforcement. So I got lucky, really. I know I have paperwork to file for all that, too, even if it's all in your name anyways." "Lucky break that," Cena said. "I'm so glad I grabbed that second computer when I went to look for my stuff. It wasn't that hard to co-size my way into it. Most of the heavy lifting was done when Springs for Legs tried to analyze my prosthetics. As it is, I'm not really supposed to have programs like that. Good thing her computer didn't have wireless capability. I think I'd have corrupted a huge portion of the ring. I got really lucky there, I suppose. I think that's why my laptop remained powered down. I've got nastier programs in there." "Why do you have such software anyways?" "I'm friends with a whole unit of crazy-ass space marines that jump out of practically good spaceships, usually for fun. There's no way they let their favourite little girl gallivant a few thousand years away from Terran space without some kind of ways to defend herself. As it is, I'm going to be getting a lot of I told you so's from them, because I turned down their offer of military-grade combat prosthetics." With a heavy sigh, she added, "I'm never going to hear the end of it." I'd imagine not, Rutek said, and checked his phone. Food should be here soon. I'm going to shower myself. With that, Rutek left, leaving Selina alone with her thoughts for the time being. As Selina waited for their meal to arrive, she got her phone set up to download and reinitialize its last image state, thankful that the battery would be up to it, though probably not much thereafter. While her phone was doing its thing, she looked about Rutek's apartment, being a little curious. Though she did not go snooping around in drawers or cabinets, she saw that his residence was along similar lines to all bachelors in general. The dining area was small, the table only having enough room for 2 chairs. As typical, the vis screen in the living area was large, taking up most of the wall space. There was no bed, and so she assumed the couch could fold out into one. It was not long before the order arrived, Selina having verified it was a delivery person, a young-looking Mipos female, and then went about setting things up at the small table so that she and Rutek could eat together. At this time, Rutek exited the small fresher, only in shorts this time, the bandages removed from his chest. That smells good, Rutek said, sniffing the air a bit. It does, but I can tell you splurged a bit this time. I did. I have the credits for it, for the moment anyways. Not sure if I still have my job. I'm sure you still do, she said, looking at the only starting to heal wounds in his chest, but I think you still need those bandaged up. Got nothing like that here, he replied. I'll be fine. I'll get something to patch myself up tomorrow. What about you? Surely you need medicine or something too? I'm pretty much just a big bruise at this point, she replied. Nothing time and rest won't fix, and the stitches will come out on their own. Human endurance is unparalleled. Those Nimians were strong, stronger than even humans most times. Humans can get stronger, much stronger, but that takes a certain degree of dedication and hard work that most people aren't willing to put forth. So humans are still the best, huh? Only if they want to be. Anyways, let's eat. The two ate in contemplative silence and simply enjoyed each other's company. A pulse pistol lay within easy reach of Selina, however, though its safety was still on. Finishing their meal, they cleaned up the rest of the apartment together, the filth being mostly dishes. Sorry, I only have the fold out. I usually don't have guests over, Rutek said, as he started the process of converting the couch into a bed. It's no bother, Selina said with a yawn, and said without thinking, I don't mind sharing, just no funny business. I hurt too much. So it's like that, huh? I didn't mean it like that, Selina stared at with a bit of a blush. I like you. I mean, you're a friend, a good friend, and I'm just going to shut up. So there's a chance, right? Selina grunted in embarrassed frustration, and lightly tossed a cushion at him. Rutek only laughed and then stopped with a wince. Has too much to laugh, he wheezed out. Serves you right, she said. Well, let's get some sleep. We both have a lot to do tomorrow. Rutek awoke with a groan, the events of the last few rotations having taken quite a toll on his body. Not quite ready to get up, he smelled some kind of cooking meat and grain, and heard Selina making a vidmail of some kind. So he listened, feigning sleep. Xiomara, he heard Selina exclaim. You have no idea what I went through the last week. Believe it or not, I was fucking kidnapped. They wanted me for my prosthetics and then threw me into garbage. I'm so lucky to be alive right now. I'm telling you first because you're my best friend. Don't even Mum or Uncle Rob know. Unless it's big enough news to reach all the way to Terran space, doubtful though. She flipped the pancake-like foodstuff she was making, having raided Rutek's refrigerator and pantry, and came out with something using breading for meat and some odd eggs. The meat she was frying in a small amount of oil and some kind of dried herbs that smelled nice. I'm at Rutek's place right now. He's that cute Dioshine I told you about before, because I didn't feel safe going home. He helped me out and I owe him so much. It was wild what happened. I mean, we ended up in a shootout while I fought off 2 Nimians. Anyways, thanks to some illegal shenanigans, I'm a bounty hunter, and I have my own spaceship. Now I just need to learn to fly it. She continued to cook for a moment, paying attention to the food in front of her. I'm making breakfast for him, because, like I said, I'll probably be dead without him, see? She moved her phone around to show the cooking food for a moment. I don't really know what all this is, but I'm human so it shouldn't matter. Anyways, I've got to send Vimel to my mum and Uncle Robert. Not looking forward to that, so bye. Now, who has to send a Vimel to? She asked, as she scrolled through her now functional phone, it having quick charge wirelessly. So, I'm a cute Dioshine, huh? Rutek said, as she was preoccupied with her phone and cooking. With an undignified squeak like squeal of surprise, Selina almost dropped her phone. How long were you there? She finally asked. Long enough, he said to her, watching her face flush despite her dark complexion. I didn't know you felt that way about me. Well, you are kind of cute, Selina said in a small voice. Only kind of? He asked, then added. Despite your lack of scales, you're not too bad on the eyes either, and you're very warm. A Dioshine could get used to sharing a bed with you. Rutek smirked, as her blush deepened, and he finally let her off the hook, so to speak, as he asked again. What are you making? It smells pretty good. Thankful for the reprieve in embarrassment, she answered. Some fried meat or whatever, and my attempt at something we Terrans call pancakes. Well, it smells good, Rutek said. How long have you been up? A little while, she replied.
I called Gert. She's bringing me some clothes later and will take me back to my place. I don't want to ride on a hoverbike wearing only an oversized t-shirt if I can help it. And I've got so much to do this rotation. Lots of forms to fill out, my late order to finish, vid mail to send, my prosthetics to go over. I need to see what's in my new spaceship, and I've already scheduled a piloting lesson. You should get some yourself just in case.
I have a feeling I need to file a lot of forms too. That whole right of conquest thing I said spur of the moment needs to be legalized. I still need to call my job if I still have it. I feel like I've already missed 3 shifts already. My boss won't be happy about that.
Well, Selena said, expertly flipping the pancake with one hand and quoted a headline. I don't think that'll be a problem. We're on the news. Terran Daishin bounty hunter duo bringing gang leader.
Rutak exclaimed in disbelief. We're on the news?
I planned it that way, remember?
Selena said, as she turned off the stove and served up plates.
So I think your boss will be lenient, considering how he looked on the recordings.
We did look pretty beat up.
We're still pretty beat up, she said with a bit of a laugh. Once Gert gets here, I'm going home to fulfill my late order and go about the process of renaming my spaceship into something far more Terran. I'm thinking of calling it the G3T R3KT N00B.
That did not translate at all.
I know, it's a Terran thing.
Whatever, it's your ship.
Selena only grinned in response.
Selena was explaining everything to Gert while she ran diagnostics on the Simpskin casing that had finished printing some time ago. Already having contacted HFY and apologising for the delay, as well as giving a small discount on the current bill and a future procedure not covered under current contract. In the fresher, Selena was taking out all the bee work so that she could properly wash her hair of accumulated filth, having her proper hair products. As she was working, Gert said to her with a mischievous smile, I can tell you like Rutak. I picked up on your pheromone changes when you're near him.
What?
Selena asked with a blooming blush, as she started working on her hair.
My vines do more than just make glucose. They also double as sensory clusters, Gert explained. I wasn't sure at first, but with your reaction, I'm certain. You like him in the I want him to pollinate me kind of way.
Gert! What? There's nothing wrong with that, the Sprouling said matter-of-factly. If you want to pollinate with someone, that's your right to do so. Live life and have fun, you know.
Gert, you are a bad influence. I know, and you'll thank me for it.
They lapsed into companionable silence as Selena worked at her hair. It was a bit of time before all the beads were removed. Then Selena kicked Gert out of the fresher so that she could take another shower to get rid of all the gunk that managed to stay locked away in the small spaces where the beads were. Exiting the shower, she combed her hair into something a lot more casual and comfortable. When she finally exited the fresher, she found Gert sunbathing again. However, she was wearing the skimpiest bikini that matched her green skin perhaps too perfectly. Selena had to do a double take and actually look at this seemingly asleep, sprawled out Sprouling to make sure her eyes were not deceiving her. Shaving her head and leaving her friend in the sun like an oversized cat, she went downstairs to her workspace. Repairing her prosthetics took a long time. Gert stayed the night since she did not have work for the next few rotations, however. Rutak informed Selena that he had to work double shifts for a few days, so he would be unavailable for much of anything, and he still had paperwork to file. Selena was going to be busy, and so she sent out vidmail as she worked.
Well, Gert exclaimed, you have a Void Hopper civilian-grade personal transport craft?
The two were looking at the spacecraft on the hangar floor of a long-term craft storage hangar. Selena's craft was the size of 2 double-decker buses smushed together side by side, without the 2 side wings, which were folded upwards to save space.
Explain to me like I'm a child.
Gert laughed and explained.
Void Hoppers are the most durable of personal transports. It's not fast nor is it pretty, but it's got so many redundancies that it can achieve FTL even with a direct hit to the FTL drive. Multiple low-yield shield emitters all over the ship instead of the usual 6 high-yield ones. It disperses the load over multiple emitters, so even if one blows, others can cover it. It's a smart design system too, so the computer adjusts power over the separate shield grid. I know so much about this because I wanted one for the longest time, but could never save up enough for it.
So, it's expensive?
Very expensive. Similar in cost to the fastest models. This is like a tank compared to a jet.
Huh, that's good to know. Does it have weapons?
3. 2 forward plasma cannons and a rear one. Both have limited firing arcs and aren't that strong, even for a civilian-grade weapon.
Is that all?
No, there's one more thing. It's small enough that it can wake ride on large enough starships using much less fuel. Though such a thing won't work with Terran-made FTL drive systems. Uterrans use a totally different set of FTL physics.
Yeah, we make light go faster to adjust relativistic speed thresholds, Selena said. I don't really understand it myself, but the gist of it is that if light goes faster, it takes less energy to approach light speed, and so something can go faster. It's why there's a running joke everywhere that Terrans have never discovered faster-than-light travel.
How did your people even discover it?
A bizarre occurrence in a hadron collider using highly energized gold atoms, she answered. So gold is very valuable to Terran industries. It's basically our fuel. But a little goes a long way, and we're finally starting to learn how to artificially create it. Long process, that. At least we don't use it for jewelry anymore.
Interesting, was all Gert said. So, time to sort through that?
Yeah. Is this what I think it is?
Sina asked Gert aloud, as she rummaged through the captain's quarters on a new spaceship, as Rutek was busy working another double shift. A self-pleasure at all? Yes, it is, Gert replied easily.
But it's so small.
It's not small for a Tezard.
I don't want to know how you use that, Sina said. I'm not going to use it. Do you want it?
I'll add it to my collection, but I know you won't use it. You want to use Rutek instead, Gert said, as she put it into a bag of things she'd been given by Sina.
Gert, Sina exclaimed. I want to get to know him better before I do something like that.
That's one way to get to know him.
You're incorrigible. You know that?
Wait, collection? Yep, collection. My moves are many, and I have authentic human models. Dark ones like yourself, too. I can give you one if you want.
No thanks, I can print one if I want.
Ooh, have you? Gert asked excitedly.
If you ask no questions, I'll tell no lies.
Oh, you're no fun. They both shared a mutual fit of giggles.
Anyways, doesn't look like there's anything of real value in this book,
Sina said. Not really. Lots of clothes that are too small for either of us. Cosmetics, fur cleaning products, and cheap perfumes, Gert said. Did you check for any secret compartments?
I've been doing that, the other one replied. My prosthetic eye does more than just let me see. I've got a whole overlay of this room, similar to a heads-up display.
That's interesting, Gert said, then asked, can you see through clothes with it?
Gert, Sina exclaimed. No, it can't, but it can pick up outlines, scenes between differing materials. Some basic bioscience, but I have the focus for that.
That's useful.
It's very useful. Not only part of a standard package, Michael bought some strings to get me 2 of these,
Sina said, as she looked literally under the bed, her legs sticking out as the drawers had been removed, creating a small space of sorts.
Robert wanted me to have a combat kit, but I declined. I'm not so looking forward to his I told you so vidmail. As it is, I'm thinking I need to just have combat prosthetics always on. I know someone has a hit out of me or something, and... What's this?
What's what? Gert asked a bit excitedly. Is it a secret compartment?
Yeah, just give me a few minutes, Sina said.
A moment later, the sound of metal being pried apart was heard.
Stupid thing, just break already. Thank you,
Sina said again, then exclaimed.
No, wait, chocolate. Ooh, it's good chocolate too.
That's very illegal here, Gert said.
I know it's addictive. Causes euphoria and damages the endocrine systems of most species. However, I'm human and this is a human foodstuff. We give chocolate to our small children's treats. So I'm keeping these 4 bars. I'll need to find a way to get more, however. I can give you a small taste if you want. Shouldn't hurt you, I think,
Sina said again, as she crawled out from under the bed. No thanks, Gert replied. I've had some before and I don't like it. It's too strong for me and I had the mild milk chocolate version. Only a small piece too. I much prefer that spice you gave me. She said that last part with a bit of a flirtatious smile. You should give me that again and stay with me. Gert, Sina exclaimed as she wriggled out from under the bed. You're terrible. I told you, the Sprouling said with a smile. I'm the best bad influence you'll ever meet.
What am I going to do with a friend like you?
Anything you want.
Ugh. Is it just you that's like this, or is it a species trait?
Species trait, Gert replied. All Sproulings are pretty degenerate, at least as far as most of the galaxy is concerned. We're both plants and animals. We simply think much different than most. Population has never really been a concern for our people. Our caloric intake is quite small on the daily, so it's led to some interesting social developments, and we have the best water recycling technology and techniques across all species. It's why I work in a water reclaiming facility, although I am one of the few females there. Kinda nice, really.
No wonder your mind is always in the gutter.
If my mind didn't live in the gutter, it'd be homeless. The rest of the search for Selina's new spaceship proved to be more of the same. Useless trinkets and clothes that neither woman could use properly, and would be thrown out into the rented dumpster, or sent to a donation centre, until the 2 reached the cargo hold. There they found all manner of high-end electronics, typically vid screens and computers. While valuable in their own right, they were things that Selina and Gert already had. The most notable thing in the small cargo hold of the spacecraft was a lockbox that Selina pried open that held some kind of single-firing long-range pulse rifle, as well as extra power cells for it, and 3 plasma grenades.
This is nice, Sina said, as she took the weapon over.
Do you even know how to use that? Gert asked, as Selina examined the pulse rifle.
I do, but I'm not good with firearms, she replied. Still, I know my weapons, and this is a good rifle. Not as good as a Terran Republic version, but good. Pulse weapons have far greater ammunition capacity, while Terran weapons deal out greater damage, being a kinetic weapon and far greater recoil. Sort of a trade-off, I suppose, and they both have comparable ranges.
I didn't know that, Gert replied.
Actually, I should build myself a course pistol. I should be able to handle the recoil with my prosthetics, at least the ones I'm going to build. I am not going to be helpless ever again. Anyways, I think we're done here. We've searched everything, and there's nothing left here.
Retaining the weapons in the lockbox, the 2 women left the spacecraft, having the garbage and donations sent to their respective places.
Selina kept most of the high-end electronics in case she needed some quick cash later on. Long-term storage was expensive.